There's nothing wrong with also sitting in that light
Well,
because that is going to be that natural version of your body being able to make and absorb.
nailed it. And when we look at birth defects, health of your child,
Mhm.
later on in your child's development, it's usually if there's an issue with development, whether it's neurological, physiological, or mental or emotional, it's due to a toxicity or a deficiency during your pregnancy. And we don't hold space for that in a healthcare profession that's driven by medicine, numbers, and time.
The number one reason why some mamas are getting out of their house
Mm-hmm.
once a week is to come in, and they're not going anywhere else, but they're
Mm-hmm.
coming in to make sure that their body is doing exactly what it needs to be doing. This is also why it's vitally important to make sure that your provider is certified in pregnancy,
Oh yeah,
because
huge.
they're not all created equal.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Prime Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Skip Wyss, and as always, I have the beautiful, wonderful, radiant Dr. Julie Wyss with me as well today. Dr. Julie, it's so nice to have you here. Welcome.
Well, thanks for having
Yeah,
me. Good morning.
welcome you back. It's not like you've been gone.
I live here.
Yes, you do. You know, we're well into the 300 episode phase, Dr. Julie. We're at 302 with this one. And you know, 2 episodes ago we talked about pregnancy and Thanksgiving time and over the holidays, but I really want to jump back into pregnancy here. I really want to go back into pregnancy over the holidays. A lot of our moms over the holidays and over winter can find it very difficult to navigate pregnancy through the winter, especially if you're in your second trimester. First trimester, it's okay.
Well, I would even just say, just as we get into the holiday months, the cold
Yeah,
months, our tendency is that we just want to stay home, become hermits because we don't want to be out.
right.
And so that can just be part of the issue.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And staying home, it's like having that, they call it cabin fever after you've been
Mm.
in for a while. But I think that wanting to be home, wanting to cuddle up, the cold weather makes us want to stay inside, doesn't want to make us want to exercise. So I've got 5 tips today, Dr. Julie, to go over to help our moms through that first trimester, second trimester, and into that third, depending on where you line up with pregnancy, and to really help them get through their pregnancy and really help them out. Number 1, chiropractic care. Probably the most important thing, the most vital thing for your pregnancy besides good nutrition is chiropractic care.
And I would say sometimes that is the number one reason why some mamas are getting out of their house
Mm-hmm.
once a week is to come in, and they're not going anywhere else, but they're
Mm-hmm.
coming in to make sure that their body is doing exactly what it needs to be doing, that
Yep.
their baby is getting all of the information from you, mama, to grow, to develop all of those neurological things that are happening inside of you, to make sure that's all happening in the specific order during the right time. And that's
Yes.
with the adjustments that we do in the pregnancy focus. And
Mm-hmm.
this is also why it's vitally important to make sure that your provider is certified in pregnancy,
Oh yeah,
because
huge.
they're not all created equal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where some people are kind of like, oh, it's just a label, but it's not. Like, there is a
Yep.
reason why we've been doing this for so many years, why we teach the profession, but it's also that important.
It is that important. And there's a lot of bodies out there that do certifications, but there is only one that does pregnancy and Webster certification, and that's the International Chiropractic Pediatric Association. The ICA, the International Chiropractic Association, has their version, but the ICPA does a full Webster certification, prenatal and postnatal certifications, post gestation. So those are really important things to look at as from a mom's perspective for those certifications. Webster's certification is super important. It's a form of analysis that we use during pregnancy. We can use it with non-pregnant individuals. In fact, I use Webster's analysis on men and women, pregnant or not, and it's extremely effective. It gives us a very precise way to know exactly what needs to be adjusted and when it needs to be adjusted and when not to adjust. Plus, it incorporates round ligament work, soft tissue work, and the front part of the pelvis as well, which is commonly missed during pregnancy. Most chiropractors will not check those areas on moms. They don't check the round ligaments. And even more importantly is they don't check for pubic bone lineup as well. Pubic bone subluxation is a big deal. All of this should be done on top of clothing, off of the skin. There should be protective barriers in place. This should be non-invasive. This is what appropriate Webster's care does. We should be able to adjust very precisely without a lot of force. These are all things that we take into consideration and have tremendous amounts of respect for in our office at Prime Family Chiropractic Centers. But every mom deserves that level of respect, regardless if they've had one child or 6 children and they're extremely comfortable. Every mom needs that kind of respect. Every mom needs those boundaries. And as physicians, as chiropractic doctors, we need to have those boundaries in place.
If there is ever any hesitation or concern of like, gosh, what is going on down there?
Yeah.
That should be your number one red flag. This is not something that, there should be any concern or like, okay, was that an appropriate type of a thing? Like let's just get that out of the way. And I mean, we've been through the gamut
we've heard the
hearing
horror
the
stories.
And again, if this is, the red flag of, okay, I need to ask some questions, please ask us the questions. We would be happy to be able to point you into the right direction and the things that it should and shouldn't be. But let me tell you, the amazing thing is when we get the testimonials back or the moms that have had care after they've had babies without care, and when they experience chiropractic care during their pregnancy for these these last babies that they had, is just amazing. The more comfortable, like pregnancy, ladies, like I do not enjoy being pregnant. It's why we have 2 children. However, and I was just chatting with a mom the other day about this, and I'm like right there with you. But the complete difference that there is of just being able to handle the pregnancy a little bit easier. But when it comes to labor and delivery, again, it's tough. Like this is a hard job. Like this is not easy for anyone. But when you have chiropractic on your side, when your body is getting the full information to know and to do exactly what it's meant to do, labor is a little bit easier. Recovery is so much quicker. The pushing is easier to deal with because again, your body is working just like God had intended it for it to be able to do these things. And it's just magical.
Well, it's magical, but it's actually, in my mind, it's normal to have a vaginal delivery. It's normal to labor between 6 to 8, maybe 12 hours, to push between 20 and 35 minutes.
Not 2 hours.
That's normal. That's what your body's designed to do. And anything beyond that is really pushing its design and really getting in the way of its natural processes. And we don't hold space for that in a healthcare profession that's driven by medicine, numbers, and time. And it's really sad because we get away from the natural, amazing process that is giving birth. And yes, from a man's perspective, I've observed 2 births with you and several others, home births. And I hold a lot of respect for women when they're birthing babies. And what I mean by that is I know for a fact there's no way I could do it. But even more importantly is that to honor that process. And yes, it looks like it sucks. It looks like it's very difficult. And I'm sure it is. But to be able to allow the body to do it and to empower our moms out there that they can do it and that they can do whatever they put their minds to. You've done it. We've had moms that do it all over. But there's certain things we need to understand too as to how can we keep ourselves healthy during our pregnancy time. And number 2 then, beyond chiropractic, is motion, which works together with it. So exercise is absolutely critical. Movement is critical. And you do something amazing with your Mama Phoenix classes and your breathwork classes, and really help moms get their pelvic floor back to being strong, getting their core back to being strong. And you know what's funny is that the core is not just your abdominals. Your abdominal muscles and your back muscles make up the outside of the cylinder. They make up the walls, but they don't make up the top and the bottom. And the top and the bottom is actually what allows you to pressurize the whole can. Because if you think about it, if I have a can of a soft drink in front of me or something in a can or a can thing of vegetables, very, very strong. But what do I perforate to get everything out or reduce the pressure? I perforate the top or the bottom of that can. It's the same thing during pregnancy. It's the same thing during post-gestation or even finding out after you're pregnant, like in those first trimester. You can still be doing tons of breath work to help support your core, and movement is key, right?
The movement. So I mean, yes, the breath work. I mean, that's great while you're pregnant to be able to have everything working together for when it comes for labor and delivery, but it's vitally important for after.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely important after. And then, so during pregnancy, I highly recommend moms go on walks.
Hmm.
Even when it's cold out, get outside, bundle up. I know when you're cold, you don't want to be outside, but this is what's really cool is that when you're pregnant, you're running like a 50 Duracell battery. Like you're hot. Most moms that are pregnant in their second and third trimester, they come in here in tank tops in the middle of winter. Like you're running warm, so most of you love being outside anyways. So take advantage of that and get outside 3, 4 times a week and go on a nice walk, 15, 20 minutes, 30, whatever your pelvis can take.
Well, and you can be creative with this, right? So maybe you have a bunch of other children who are like, but I run after them all the time. Yes, but are you actually running after them? So even like during the day, just making sure like maybe you're using the steps a little bit more frequently. Maybe when you're picking things up, you do a couple extra squats when you're picking up around the house. All of the things that you can be creative with, because depending upon the ages of your kids, if you have other littles, they can be active with you too, because that is the tendency as we get into these months that, oh man, I got to schlep and put on the coats and the
Mm-hmm.
boots and all of
Mm-hmm.
these things. Well, what are the things that you can do in your house?
Yep.
Can you create, a sort of a gym if you have a basement in your home? What can you do as tummy time while your baby is doing tummy time?
Ah, okay. Yeah.
So all of the different things that you're thinking, okay, this is what the child should be doing, then what can you do? Because what we know is that our kids watch us, our behaviors, and the things that we do and we don't do. So if
Mm-hmm.
we start becoming more active, our kids will want to do that as well. Like when we talk about the breath work and I say, mamas, you have to be on the floor, where are the kids going to be, right? They're going to be in your space. So
Right
this
under
is
your
all the
feet.
more reason for you to easily say, yes, I need to get to doing more movement. So get on the floor, because then your kids will do that with you.
Well, and if the weather is really bad where you can't get outside or you're not comfortable, there is usually a mall within 30 minutes
Mhm.
of your house, maybe 40, or there's an indoor facility that you can walk at. There's always a Walmart or a Target. Like you can go and get out, take your kids with you if you've got a bunch of littles and make a day out of it. Make that exercise routine super important. And then the next thing I would recommend with exercise is swimming. If you can find a facility in your area that actually has a heated pool, a lot of our moms, now this sometimes is tough to find, but a lot of our moms love that. We have a place here in Green Bay, the CP Center. They have a heated pool that they allow the public to come in and use. That's great for you to move around in, get pressure of baby off your pelvis, and also let your littles frolic and splash around too. Now, number 3, Dr. Julie, absolutely essential for pregnancy, vitamins and nutrition. Let's just briefly talk about this. D is incredibly important. Calcium is essential. Methylated methylfolate,
Mhm.
extremely important, a methylated version of folic acid, because some moms have an
Methylation, sure.
MTHFR where they can't methylate. So having a methylated form of folate is really important. Fish oil, very important. Um, the background in fish oil is super important for neurological development, not just cardiovascular help,
I'm
but the
talking brain.
DHA is extremely important. Not just the EPA, but the DHA is extremely important in brain development, both for you, mama, and for your babies. And then, of course, trace minerals to help support the thyroid and a really good multivitamin. All of this should not come to you in one pill,
Not a Flintstone.
not a Flintstone. And actually, a lot of our moms out there take one pill versions of this and they don't digest. They're fractionated forms of vitamins, and you're not getting the nutrition you need. Most of them are high in sulfur. Most of them are high in iron, which causes
Constipation.
constipation, can cause a lot of upset stomachs. Remember, you want a myriad of nutrition into you during pregnancy. Therefore, the vitamins you take, you should be taking raw, organic vitamins.
I mean, it's the same thing if you think
Whole
about
food, sorry,
a
not
whole
raw.
a
Whole
whole
food
food, a
vitamins.
whole food type of a supplement. But it's the same thing if you think of like that we need to be feeding our body and we have to get that from multiple sources. It's not like you are going to sit down and you're going to eat, like, even if it could be chicken and rice every day.
Right.
Right? You're going to become depleted and you're going to think,
You'll be
okay, I need
malnourished.
something else. I'm
Yep.
looking for something else. So you have to take that same perspective with your supplements. And so if you think that you can get everything in one tablet or one capsule, and I know like there's tons of one a days,
There
and I
are.
understand this space can be super overwhelming. But just know that, yes, it's important to look at the label and you're like, I don't even know what I'm looking for. We need to have multiple things to cover the gamut of what we need, because face it, if you aren't taking that supplement, your baby is already taking it from you.
Oh,
So
it takes it from you regardless.
you need to be making sure that you are consuming, yes, really good nutrition, but you have to supplement, because no matter how good your nutrition is, you are still deficient.
It is. And when we look at birth defects, health of your child,
Mhm.
later on in your child's development, it's usually, if there's an issue with development, whether it's neurological, physiological, or mental or emotional, it's due to a toxicity or a deficiency during your pregnancy that is now showing 10 years later or 13 or 15 years later. So we want to be really on top of this right now. Now, away from vitamins, Dr. Julie, I want to talk about something neat. Because of the holidays, we want to, because of Christmas and winter and stuff here, we want to stay warm. What's your thoughts on dry saunaing? What's your thought on infrared saunas?
I think
This is tip
it's
number 4.
number 4. I think
Saunas.
it's absolutely delightful. And I know that even if you go and you look it up, there's going to be some contraindications
Sure.
or some concerns. And there is with everything, right? So everything within moderation. That's why it's 5 tips, not just 1 tip. I think sauna is super great. And so if you are, already active, the concern with a sauna is that you potentially can overheat. Yes, I understand that. I hear it. Um, Again, that is going to be the biggest concern within the first trimester as we are developing. But again, I think this is part of one of those things of make sure that you put that common sense cap on,
Yeah.
because you're not going to be sitting in here, raising that body core temperature to undesirable temperatures, right? So this is just the health benefits, to boost the immune system. That's where the sauna comes in, that it's really great to be able to do. So if you are kind of like, oh, I'm not even sure, then maybe skip it for that first trimester. But looking after that is a nice way for you to be able to get that movement again, to be able to de-stress a little bit and to warm up in that sauna.
I agree. And if you're worried about it, just don't go into a sauna for the first trimester of your pregnancy, the first 12 weeks. That's where all the research is that shows the negative sides of saunas. But the biggest thing, like you said, overheating and dehydration. So how do we counteract that? One, we keep ourselves hydrated. You're drinking almost a gallon of water a day. Yes, you're going to have to pee more, but you are going to sweat when you're in the sauna. Being in the sauna is extremely important, because when you do sweat, that detoxes your system. It pulls a lot of toxins out of your body, which actually then don't go into your baby. The other side of it is that if you want to stay hydrated, you can take a teaspoon of kosher salt, Celtic sea salt, put that in 20 ounces of water or 40, add some lemon to that, and that will actually work as an electrolyte solution to keep your body hydrated. Super important. Keep your blood pressure up with salt. Salt's actually very important for regulating your blood pressure. Extremely important. So that will help with your saunas.
I'm saying it's only 15 minutes,
Yeah.
right? So 15 minutes, that's all you really need. I mean, if you're not pregnant or you're like, okay, I really want to warm up, then just make sure you're further along. And then that's where you can, you can go 20 minutes, that sort of thing. But 15 minutes, I mean, that's a decent workout as well.
Makes
that
me
you're not
want to
going
go
to
home
be.
and fire the sauna
I know.
up
I
now.
was just thinking
Like,
about
get
it.
that
Yeah.
thing rolling. We actually have a wet sauna. We have a sauna that you can use rocks and increase the humidity, but that is essential. Now, number 5. 5 is important, one of the most important things, and that is red light therapy. Red light therapy during your pregnancy is extremely important this time of year. When we're in the holidays, when we're working our way through winter, you need the warmth, but you need the red light. Why? That helps with vitamin D production without giving you a sunburn.
Yep. So this is where, again, like this is also why we test vitamin D levels here as we're getting into winter months, because people are chronically deficient in vitamin D. And as soon as the winter months are hitting, like that's coming, like the S word was on the horizon, we're going to be seeing less and less sunlight. And that is the only way that our body can make this fat soluble vitamin D. And we need to constantly be making it. So by having that red light, that is going to allow our body to be able to stay up and to continue to make the vitamin D.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we're already deficient. So if we are going into, pregnancy knowing that we're deficient, we have to be making sure that we're supplementing. And then we have winter coming. That means that we know already that it's an uphill battle.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to be making sure that we are taking a really good vitamin D supplement, a liquid vitamin D first thing in the morning. But then also, there's nothing wrong with also sitting in that light, because that is going to be that natural version of your body being able to make and absorb.
Nailed it. It's exactly it, because your body's never going to overproduce vitamin D. So it'll overproduce it if you stick too much in, which is really rare. But having that red light therapy is huge. Now, the other side of red light that I really like to talk about is it has anti-inflammatory properties for your body. It helps with detox as well, and it will also help you with your blood sugar and help you with your skin, which is extremely important. Red light therapy also makes you feel great. Full spectrum UVA, UVB, red light does it for you. And the reason why we're bringing it up now is because it is winter and the holiday season. These things are usually at a very good discount because people want to sell them now. So trust your sources, reach out to us. We do have some good products you can actually use. Yes, there are gimmicks out there. Yes, there are red flashlights that people can say that there's an issue, like all of that, but really good LED red light therapy, extremely important for you. Probably one of the most vital things you can put into your body.
Here's the disclaimer. If it seems too good to be true,
yeah, and if it's super, super cheap, it's not worth the money. If you can buy red light masks and red lights for your body that are smaller, they're going to run between $100 and $160. The bigger ones go up there in price. But if you're buying red light therapy for $15 to $20, it's not doing what it's designed to do, and you're just sitting in front of a flashlight. So I wouldn't recommend that. So we'll put some links into, we'll let our post-production know that so we can get that link in there. But those are the 5 easy, simple steps that you can do during these holidays and during these winter months to really support your pregnancy and just enjoy yourself. We want you happy. We want you healthy. We want your immune system working amazingly well. And we want you to make the best informed decisions for your pregnancy and feel confident about it and feel comfortable asking questions. In fact, if you guys have any questions, put them below in the comments. We'll make sure that we answer them, or we can always do a Q&A on here and do a Ask Us Whatever You Want podcast and give you the best opinions we can. Remember, we know that this podcast is heard worldwide. We have listeners all over the world. We can keep track of those stats, and you can always reach out to us. You can find us at the Prime Podcast. You can leave us comments. You can go to our office page, which is what?
PrimeFamilyCenters.com.
Yep, and leave us questions there. You can always call and talk to us. We're here for you.
And I would just make sure that you are considering who is on your birth team, because this isn't a one-sided thing, right? You need to be lifted up. You need to be supported. So make sure now, if you're hearing this and you're like, oh gosh, I need to start thinking about this, think about it now and make sure that you have the right team supporting you and through your pregnancy journey up into labor and delivery and in the 4th trimester, because it's that vitally important. Because our tendency is, especially during these winter months, we want to pull in. We're going to start to feel like we're alienated, and this isn't. This needs to be a village. We need to have a group surrounding us, because this is a lifetime job. This is a full-time job, and we should not be doing it ourselves.
And all of these healthy habits that we're instilling now will help us postpartum, help with postpartum depression, baby blues. Having an amazing team in place like you just talked about does all of that. Dr. Julie, you got anything else? As always, ladies and gentlemen out there, share this podcast. This is one, especially on pregnancy. You know people in your lives that are pregnant. Share them this. This is incredibly good information. They will find it vital to themselves. And you know what? You just helped them be healthier during their pregnancy. So you did your part. So share us, give us a like, and help us out as much as you can. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. Bye, everyone.